Okay, folks. For the folks who are going to catch this in the redo, my phone rang, and due to the audio, I'm almost certain that that previous video is going to get zapped. To work around that, I'm going to try to fix that video tonight if it lets me, and we're going to get rolling again. Hey, thank you, Johnny. I'm sorry about that. I just have to try to fix that because I had noise come through, and I know YouTube loves to zap things. So I will probably actually delete that whole video before there's an issue. So you guys get to listen to me live while I fix this. Boom. Your channel. Boom. Okay, hold on. Nope. We gotta go here. Yep. Sorry about that, guys. We're just gonna have a little bit of shenaniganery. It is really not gonna be my night tonight. We're gonna get that zapped before I can get any flack because it will try to get zapped. So while I'm doing that, I hope you guys aren't too bothered. We're gonna go right back into talking about my let's see, live, bam, and that one will be delete forever. So I'm gonna back. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back that up, and then I'm going to delete the video, and I will probably put that in the for Patreon members. So I'll leave that as a file I'll upload for the Patreon members just as a kick. And we'll go from there. But while that's clicking and whirring, hopefully YouTube will give me the mercy of 8 minutes to fix that. Wow, do we have a lot to talk about. Before we do, I have to rerun my plugs, which I don't normally have to do. We are brought to you by the Simple Sword and the Fighting Axe. I am totally not bumbling this week. We're going to shock and roar. Both my books can be found on Amazon.com if you want to learn the basics of swordsmanship and how to do Western martial arts without a whole, a history degree or complex English. Please look that up. So, my Patreon members are why I can bother to do this. You guys are incredible. Rebooting, we had our first practice last week. I probably, let's see if it lets me. You know what? You guys are being so awesome. And I am putting that up. There we are. That's on YouTube, and Facebook gets the same treatment. Yes, we are just folks. Thank you for the folks who are sticking with me. Bam. Okay, that's done. We have 5 minutes till it's downloaded and disappears forever. We're going to be like, close that. All right. Thank you guys for stumbling on back in. I know this is going to derail pretty much everybody, but in the next 3 minutes, everything should be straightened out. I've had nothing but tech issues this week. The camera did it. It recorded the images at such a high resolution, I'm having trouble getting them to come off and be processable. Yeah, the typo demons and the gremlins have come together tonight as a force of darkness upon me to completely wreck that video. So it like I said, as soon as it's done downloading, no worries. Yeah, this is just absolutely going bonkers. Uh, I appreciate the folks. Thank you for the likes. Man, YouTube does not like me right now, and I'm not surprised. A lot of content going on. So we're going to start over with the plugs. We had practice, and for those of you who know, I have to wear these braces because, yes, and Friday the 13th was for me, which is really rare. Usually it's the luckiest day of my year, but I have to wear my braces. So I do, and I talk about the different weapons I like. And then I wore the gloves and they conflict with the braces. And all this time I hadn't really dug out my old fencing gloves to see if they were compatible with the braces, and it shut down my hands. So basically, about early into the night, I had to stop because my hands weren't working, and I had some binding because I actually took the new fencing jacket off, rolled up my sleeves, and forgot, which is something I do a lot in the wintertime. So that basically tourniquets your arms. I'm telling you about these issues so that you don't make them. And anybody who comes on any of these shows and I am flawless is lying, folks. Nobody's perfect. And if there's one thing that this video has proven, it is one, it's proven that I'm not perfect and I'm okay with it. Two, it's proven that I have the best fans in the freaking world. I mean, the viewers who watch the Historical Fencing Guild are just that good. You roll with it and you're awesome, and I adore you. Anyway, I want to talk about these new weapons that came in. These are from an Etsy shop, and I cannot pronounce the name. Okay. Like, I will try, and it won't come out, but it's like Collage Cutter, maybe. And that's h2h101.com. You can find these. Thank you. Now, why do I like these? I'm running into a problem. Actually, I had to talk to Christian Dorsa over at PHA because this is 1.5 inches to 1.25 inches. Okay. With my braces, this is a little thick for what I can manage. I really need about 1 inch in width, in palm swell. Jeez. Thesis. No, no self-abuse, but that doesn't. I'm having strength issues, so I can't really fight well with that. Now I have the Dusik. I'm throwing trainers all over the place, which is much closer, but still, it still catches quite a bit. So I may actually have to cut the rope off and strip. Oh, please. Oh, please stop. Please stop hurting yourselves. Re-strip this down, like rewrap it with string or grip tape, depending on the lip right here, to make it manageable because it's so close. But you know what else is about this length? The Collage Cutter. Yeah. We are a gifted lot. The people who find their way to me usually have at least encountered one curse in their life, live long enough and you collect a few. But for small-handed people, if you're looking for an aggressive cutter, I'm almost afraid to hand this to Stef Mari because this is beautiful. But it is definitely, with this inward grip, small-handed, and it is actually quite weighty. The point of balance is way out there. So, long-time viewers, let's talk about this. Let's take something like, where'd Sting go? Sting is underfoot. When I reached for this, of course, I knocked over my trainer box. This should surprise no one. But this is Sting. Sting's point of balance is actually right here. Sting is a bit of a cutter, but we know that. Now, if we take something like this fella, its point of... Oh, yes, I have absolutely Deerhorn axes. Deerhorn knives, also called Meridian axes. Hold on. Boop. Not only have I heard of them, PHA has some. If they're what I'm thinking you're talking about. Yep. I think this is... Let's see. I'm trying to see if this works. Alrighty. Try. Boom. Try. Yes. Basically, let me explain. Tell me if that link happens. The my phone ringtone for a couple people is a version of the Imperial March. I was looking for my phone and it rang, so I had to turn it off to keep, I had to cut the video and then drop it so that we don't get any issue. So we're working about it. Let me see if I've missed anything. And I'm back to top chat. Okay. There we go. See, I may lose a few. Okay, nobody's getting up. But yeah, if those are what you're talking about, they're very intriguing tangling weapons. They're short, they're aggressive, and I'm doing this on purpose because if you look at the hooked outer edges, they catch almost like a... Wonderful, thank you. Right, so instead of having an issue with the mouse, as soon as it came through, I stopped the video and I deleted it. I don't think there's anything else that can be done. That's why I always turn my stuff off. But like I said, this was the week that things go wrong. And my phone just tried to unmute itself. Yay! Howdy, Sydney Cap. We're graced by Sydney Cap. She's one of my Patreon members. She's what lets me keep doing the show. Actually, our as of Bladed Thesis and Foxy and Slyvar Ogre. So yeah, we've got a lot of people in house who are helping out quite a bit. Now, I've seen them. I will say for Deerhorn antlers, I'm not. Yeah, you do not want to train with live steel. Okay, training with live steel is very, very dangerous. So if you can't find a trainer, there are two things I can recommend. The fastest way is to get yourself a good piece of HDPE, at least a quarter of an inch thick. Usually, there are rare exceptions. We could talk about it. Many cutting boards are roughly that thickness. Trace out the weapon you want to train with, and then cut it out, and it will be a reasonable working trainer. I have some swords I've made that way. Otherwise, if you have access, contact Christian Dorse over at Purple Heart Armory. He's been known to do custom trainers, and that's how things are. That's how they come together. Oh god. Sorry, it's my head thing. I'm just guys. I'm discombobulated this week on levels I am not accustomed to, and depending on how that how was your week, it has been complex. But I want to get back because before I lose track, this set is actually really neat because it's roughly an inch in the grip, and the way the creator, whoever made these, knotted the ropes. Well, I will say wrap it with athletic tape or some type of tape just to keep the grind off. It makes it a very nice diamond cross section. That means it fills your hand nice. Like this knife, while incredibly aggressive and totally without flex, is one of my favorite trainers I've grabbed in years. It is light, it is fast, and it locks in. This is the kind of set that tells you exactly how it wants to be held and what it needs to do. These usually apparently come with DVDs on Screama techniques. I did not get that because it's still in use. Stef, we're joined by our lovely the newest newlywed in my circle, Stef. Hi, Stef. I don't think you got to play with these while we were here, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I think you would love this little cutter trainer. Got the axe yet? Sometimes. I don't know how swamped he is. I can't make promises, but definitely if you go to PHA, right? If you go to PHA and you there's a little purple thing that says help, okay? A lot of times that will put you in right away with Chris Dorse, and you can talk directly to me. I have this problem, whatever, can see what you can do. And maybe he can, maybe he can't. It's kind of a busy season for him. Everybody's kind of bounced around. Now, Stephanie was here, and I do have videos. I just haven't processed them. Because I know I get a lot of DMs who are really happy to see people like Stephanie of her build actually sparring. It's kind of life changing to see her or Amanda, because there's this mythos that a short, curvy woman isn't athletic or isn't capable of martial arts, and that drives me bonkers. That's why I think Steph is so representative of a physicality that deserves more appreciation in martial arts training. I know because, again, I am trying to find grips that are small enough and fit my hand, and my hand is very, of a traditionally female scale, at least in length. I can have a wider pad, but ew. Thesis. Give me details, and if he can't, I might be able to help you. If not, there's some Etsy people out there who do custom work, and I'm expanding because my goals. While I want to maintain great relationship with people like the good folks at Purple Heart, I also want to try the other trainers so I can tell you what works and what doesn't. And I'm really big into the little guys, and this is definitely a little guy outfit. I'm looking forward to fighting with this more as my hands uh, adjust. It's just right now I have to look into new things. Also, once it cools off, wearing a padded gambeson long coat in 95-degree temperature was a little foolhardy on my part, but I had to see if it will work. Now, that being said, let's talk about what went wrong at that practice. And I want to talk about a few things because I made rookie mistakes. Part of it was I overdid it beforehand. I bush hogged and I moved a couple 100 pounds worth of cinder blocks to improvise some stairs because we had some debacles. Rest up, be comfortable and refreshed before you hit a practice. Double check all your gear. I've said it so many times so you don't get to practice and you find yourself where, oh no, this doesn't fit. I had unexpected issues where the gear I thought I'd have access to, I suddenly didn't. And my physicality, which is really, really being bad, I'm still kind of impeded because I overdid it Saturday. But I'm sorry, guys. I got to take this off and I got to do some things. And instead of hiding it, I'm just going to talk about it in a minute. I wear braces. They do. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see it. They do that to me when I swell up. That makes the hands tremble worse. That's okay. I have limitations. Anybody else I'd try to help. Now, I'm actually gonna have to go shopping. I'm supposed to go shopping tonight, and because of the timing actually of this video, I couldn't. But I do use now. This is not a paid thing. The reason I select paid promotion isn't that I'm running commercials for Game Shady Stories. I do plug some of the things I'm directly involved in. Yeah, I wear very similar splints basically all the time to function, or else it feels like my hands are being cut apart. But and it's funny because this is how, you know what? I'm going to talk to you guys about something. When you see somebody get online and they're like, I use this stuff every day, right? And they hold up a brand new sealed bottle, I don't believe it. This is the Coralite Pain Relief Balm. This is about halfway to Tiger Balm. It's got a wetter consistency, and I have to, when my hands are really bad, take it off. But I get this at the dollar store. I'm not paid for this, and I am not a doctor. This is just the stuff I use because of some of my other issues. I'm really not supposed to take a lot of, if any, like painkillers. This helps. This stuff gets me through the day. And like I said, if you want proof, the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. This jar is dang near empty. That tells you I go through these. That right there tells you everything you need to know. And it's $1 at Dollar Tree. It's one of the single best deals you can get. Snag one. It may last you a few months. It may last you a few weeks. With me, it's totally variant on how busy I am. And I'm now making adjustments. I've been learning physical therapies to help with my carpal tunnel. And why am I telling you guys this? I know this surprises. I get people. Why are you always talking about weapons? Why you talk about injuries that you have? Nobody cares. Here's the thing: most people who come here have limitations, and I don't know if you've ever had to deal with a physical therapist who has never been heavily injured. It's different, because the experience of being weak is not always the same. Now, dealing with somebody who has the injury and knows what it's like gives you a perspective of not just knowledge, but experience. And I do tend to like that. I tend to like people who can tell me what to. Yeah, they don't get it. Now, I have found some videos I like from people far more educated than I am on carpal tunnel, obviously because I'm studying their work, and that's fine. I now do the exercises a couple times a day as I need to loosen up the tendon that wraps around the nerves, and I have found that it actually helps a lot. So basically, if I feel it coming on, I goop up with either this or a product called Absorbine Junior, because actual Absorbine is literal horse liniment. And mess. Is that an Emmy piercer? I've seen that word. Let me see. So I'm not downloading. And I do this a lot. Yeah, okay. I've heard those called Emmy piercers. Yeah, okay, that is fine. I have, believe it or not, that would not be that difficult to yeah. Oh yeah, the spinny stabby. Getting the spin element would be tricky. Get getting the stabby stab is very simple. But okay. That would be challenging to manufacture. Because you need a ring. They're very interesting. Oh god, I can see her. There's a lady who used to who I've seen in the same programs as Dr. Yang Juing Ming. I never know which part of that to highlight. So anyhow, but if you look on for training with it, there's martialartsmart.com has some master sets, or they used to, with some, at least in the other weapon styles, surprisingly good training DVDs to pick up the technique. As a raw trainer, getting the spin would be nearly impossible. Other than that, they should be reasonable to make out of HDPE. Oh, I know people like you with grip issues, and having a weapon that you can wear and not have to worry about dropping would be good. That's a big part of why this is my favorite EDC tool, the style. Hey, thank you, Frog G. You are a hero. And you know what? Thank you for smashing that like button. Everyone else, Frog G did, and catch us on the rerun. You might be educated or entertained, and if not, hit me up on Patreon for anything you need, any questions. That's what I'm for. You guys, test your calibration on that like button, and go on to my channel where it says, subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed and click the bell so that you get everything, because YouTube does carefully monitor my videos, hence my rather severe reaction. But when we're talking about, it's nearly impossible to drop this knife. And note, I'm not behind the point end because I have relatively small hands. It locks in. This is a classic for me work knife or certain sword style grip. I like the thumb to drive the edge. I'm an old whittler. I can make feather sticks like crazy out of these guys. I love, but the spin would be difficult because the only way to make it spin is to either have two rings, one that is the ring you wear and one that just fits around the dowel or the HDPE rod, or a smooth cap bolt type thing. So a Chicago screw with some Loctite might work and not give too much to it in the ring. So a metal ring there, that Loctite out to probably a reinforcer. So you have your bar, my sword cane, which I got to use and it works great. It's a little slam jockey. I know I'm saying it wrong, but the African solid whip, but that's okay. It works good. But you need to reinforce it to prevent breakage. So we will talk later. Let me get one of my brain books going, and I might be able to give you a diagram to work around, possibly a parts list to make something that might work for that. If you're interested, if it's, I don't want to overstep the pursuit of your I know what a holy grail is, because still after this, not a week goes by that I wish they didn't make a good trainer of this, or 2 or 10. But some things are coming down the pipe. You see, because next week is my birthday, and because I will be turning 40, I have made arrangements for a couple things to happen that will be useful for me, including possibly my new sword stock being a polyethylene bar stock that is a 1/2 inch by 3/4. So that should be able to be rounded at the tip for safety and be something I can actually grab. So then it just becomes a matter of figuring out how I want to mount the hardware of uh, a guard of some sort to it. And if that works well, I can make some really sexy things. And if it doesn't, I'll always think it should have. So that will be. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't normally yawn. God, I'm low. I have a little low energy today. It's not like me, but I guess it happens to everybody. But so that is definitely in the works. I'm continuing my quest for weapons that fit smaller hands. This guy will probably be featured in one of the next videos as this. Here is my conundrum. I have two like length, large, comfortable knives. Yes, Morgo, I'm listening. Yes. The problem is the spinning aspect. And like I said, hit me up after, I'll tell you, I will shoot you something over Facebook or the even the Facebook public group, and we can try to make that trainer for you. Yeah, my problem is I have too much blood in my caffeine system. Anyway, yes, please assault the internet. This, of course, is the FE9. This is incredibly therapeutic for me, and I'm actually looking for something sword-like, triple the blade length. Yeah, about triple the blade length, 27-inch blade. That'd be sweet. A pair of these at 27 inches. Good Lord. But so at least one roughly that length would be very nice for me to work with for my hands. But there's also this guy, which is a sub-hilt model, and I cannot remember the name of it, but it's by Cold Steel. And the sub-hilt refers to this little cross piece that lets you get a keyhole grip. Oh, yes, zero sugar. The Mountain Dew Zero Sugar tastes a lot more like Mountain Dew than the diet does, and I find it does not upset my stomach like the diet does. There is allegedly a zero sugar version of Mellow Yellow. I have not found it, but I will, and that's very good. I will definitely keep on that. Anyway, I like this knife because it's even with my brace very small, and I do tend to like moderate, not hyper aggressive, but moderate scaling for retention. Plus, I'm a fencer. I was born a fencer. I'll die a fencer. But this keyhole grip and I are this lets me be much more aggressive and much more direct. So I'll probably be doing a review on this knife in one of my next Insomniac weapon reviews. Now, honestly, I drink most of the time. I drink my sugar-free Mio. This is usually black cherry. This stuff right here, I buy it all by the crate. So I'm not sponsored by this, but this stuff is great. I have to be careful with carbonation. Now I got to put my braces back on because I'm barely tacky. Oh, I'm very tacky. You've seen my fashion sense, but I have to do different therapies and stuff, and part of water's good. Good water is very good. And I drink a lot of water, but like I said, I need caffeine because I have a very erratic sleep schedule. And that might be part of it. Anybody who's seen me on at 3 a.m. knows, oh, Nick's on again. I keep what we call XSTs. That's Xander Standard Time, because I'm primary caregiver to my beautiful son. And He is autistic, so he works on a schedule that is a little different from a lot of people. I am his primary caregiver, so I work on a schedule that's very different from a lot of people. I'm okay with that. But it does mean like mornings and don't always meet. And then sometimes we meet, coming and going, so to speak. But I was told I needed to do workout with a light weight. So they're like, you could go buy a dumbbell or whatever. But instead, I brought back from my old days working at the Gnome Depot, the Boom Depot, to those of you who know, my solution. I wore this on my belt. Yeah. But when you've applied liniment, until it's soaked in, you don't want to cover it because that can have bad reactions. But I need a lightweight and a nice. This is only about a 2 pound short-handled sledge. It's not terribly aggressive, but I will tell you yeah, 1 can apiece. My problem is, believe it or not, uh, grabbing the diameter of a can of peas is about the extension where I have strength. So it's one of those, working with something that big uh, is where I start having difficulty. It's why, again, I've got this guy out. The other thing is I can increase the weight via leverage. So I can slide it here and have minimal weight, slide it out and expand my weight. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the short handle sledge. Just in general, if somebody asks me what my favorite things to carry, 150 in pennies and a sock is great. A roll of quarters, actually, for people just getting into it, can be great. People have this obsession with big, heavy weights, and I don't, because I'm not. That's not where my journey is. I respect the people who make that journey. Don't get me wrong, but if you're building, yep, yeah, the big like 2 gallons with the integrated loop. I've actually done that. I do a lot of minimal weight exercises with the wooden dowels. So when I'm doing my stretches, often to have a slight bit of weight, I will hold on to the dowel and roll it around, which I can't obviously do my stretches in the brace. But yes, this I have forged little knives with this. This is pretty much my favorite hammer in existence. At one point, I made the joke that this was my dwarven arrow, and I love this little hammer. But it works, like I said, it works well for me, especially for things like twist exercises. So, me doing, I'm not worried. I'm not trying to look like Captain America over here. I'm not even. Um, right now, I'm working towards looking like season 1 Uncle Iroh. And if I, get to the line where I feel like I'm reliably season 1 Uncle Iroh, I can work towards season 3 Uncle Iroh. Which I don't know if that makes sense to this crowd, but that's pretty much exactly where I am. So you're going to see a lot more fidgets as I do these videos and I try to stay in shape and get in shape. That's just how it's going to be. And I'm okay with that because that's what we're about. But thank you, Cindy. Um, I'm getting my mobility back slowly. Oh no. There's nothing wrong, Ogre. Nothing wrong with that. I had to shut my whole stream down because my phone rang, and it will not be up on YouTube anymore. My Patreons may get to see it as a bit of a joke, but we'll see. I feel you, Johnny. Hey, there's nothing wrong with the long and lean look, though. I had it for a long time before I guess my uh pancreas or whatever decided to take a break and I started getting diabetic. Uh so yeah, you're fine. Don't bash it. Plus, dress clothes look good on you. I always look like Saul Rubinek at my best. That's the best I can get. Okay, thesis. That cuts me to my core, man. That cuts me to my core. Uh Yeah, we'll figure it out, and you can always catch whatever you missed in the rerun. And if you have any questions, Ogre, my friend, message me. Hit me up on Patreon. I literally, if you really want to be able to talk to me about things and have a direct line, hit my Patreon. I religiously check it, and it never gets overwhelmed like my Facebook Messenger does with relatives and other people, or my Twitter. I'm learning Twitter. I can be found at ntalkert, but yeah, Avatar is great, especially for classic kung fu guys. Iroh is one of those characters I hope to someday be justified in being like. Uh, I'm not. Um, I don't think I'm that wise, and I'm certainly not that powerful, at least in most settings. Uh, it's been a long time. That's that. But Ogre saying hi to Bladed Thesis. Foxy. Frog G had to bail, but he'll catch up with you. Johnny Cage and Cindy. Ogre's a great guy. And don't worry, you'll be coming back in the game that is going on. Johnny Cage, brave but bold statement. I respect that. Zuko is one of the better characters written. His arc is fantastic, and I am one of the people who subscribes to the Zuko is autistic because he makes absolute sense. Thank you, Cindy. I yeah, Uncle Iroh is one of those archetypes that I could respect and hope to someday be. There's nothing. One is better than other when weighed against each other. Sokka's another great character. However, you have to keep it in track compared to the vast majority of writing, especially for children's programming. Absolutely amazing. No, now I'm not the big fan of Legend of Korra. I tried to watch it and I just couldn't get through it. But Zuko had a wonderful arc. I will retry Legend of Korra at some point, but I don't think I could go fight from. Shoot. Wait, that's not entirely true. I watched a fight scene on YouTube. It was interesting. It was live action. Sure. I'm not sure what isn't true, but yeah, I would really enjoy seeing later in life Sokka and Zuko actually sparring because that would be a beautiful Jin versus Double Dao match. And I think that would just be fun. And it's almost tragic that we were robbed that. Oh, not that I don't appreciate Jet's hook swords, but I'm definitely a Double Dao guy. I mean, I love Double Dao. That should shock no one, though. A Dao is a proper saber in many minds. It's an elegant weapon that does not get the appreciation it should. And of course, a Jin. I can make a Jin go. I have sparred Jin. It's in the list of weapons. Like I said, I can make it go. I don't count it as a primary, but I certainly can take a Jin and operate it. But operating a gin is really neat, and I haven't tried it since my wrist much, since the new braces, because one of the great differences between fighting a gin and fighting a light a Western weapon like a rapier. Would you guys like to hear about that? Would you like my take on that a little bit? Is that something? Oh, I will double down on double down. I love double down, but getting into this is a gin trainer. I bought this thinking it was going to be something else, and frankly, there's a good chance that this trainer is going to die, so that I have access to a very light blade I can narrow down and make a grip for. But there are a couple things you're going to see with gin that you won't see in rapier. And part of it is the gin is much more. It's funny because this guard is actually backwards. The guard should be facing down. This isn't a catch guard, it's a deflecting guard. So many of the blocks and shot defensively draw out, bringing the weapon back out and up and away. It's very much a yin weapon. You know, the other thing is, and just coming at it from a rapierist and then spending many, many hours with Sword Sage, and looking at Dr. Yang Chuing Ming, of course, the Eastern styles, the movements can be very similar, but you're seeing me try to do something that my wrists are impeding, and what it is the parry point on a jin oftentimes in systems I've seen isn't where you think, because most Western swords, the point of parry, so the point of articulation when you're analyzing agility, is very, very much here. And what you're going to see is in Jin, very often your defensive encounters move at the line between the forte and the foible, so that your disengages are instead of circular, they're double circles. So they're counter elliptical, because this is going out while this is going in. So it makes for a very interesting flourish. I honestly don't know if I can get the kind of fluidity needed to demonstrate that today. Not with that, but okay. This is my small sword that broke. I am in the process of repairing it. I need a new pommel. It's lighter. Oh, to show it, okay. Pardon the C curve. Parry, parry. This all looks very standard, right? You've seen this 1,000 times. But the parries basically flow here. It takes a supple wrist to pull it off. And I'm not sure right now. There we go. Do you see how down and up has that? It's a very fascinating technique. And the way I'm rigging this to be one of my light weapons, I may actually have to shorten it for my own point of balance. Is tight, loose. Okay, this goes here. Because you guys have seen this. This had a weighted pommel, and the pommel came apart and got lost. So I have to set up another pommel and remount the screw. I have a new adhesive to attempt to do that. And I will be making some really interesting ultralight training knives out of some of the materials that John Miner has sent me, and some I will be acquiring. The trainer is slightly flaccid. Okay. So let me just do this. One of the reasons I like this is it is a very springy trainer. And it is very old. I've been fighting with this particular plastic trainer for probably longer than my son's been alive. So 13, 14 years. So it's seen a lot of wear and tear. And under heat, it gets more bendy. Right now, it's probably 80 some odd in this office. So it is well worn. Let me get something a little newer. No, go back. Let me put that down. I like having access to more thrust forgiving trainers. Now you see, this still has a much poppier blade. But, okay, give me a second. I'm going to have to take my brace off. Let's see. I think I can pull it off. That was not the comment I was expecting. Let me see. Live chat still okay. I have to check it. It actually bumps me off to top chat once in a while. I think because I don't comment. But yeah, okay, I think I can pull it off. Just for a moment I have to lose the headset, so I won't be able to hear anything, but I'll explain. Western. Sorry, I'm trying to do this in a cramped area. Eastern. Eastern. It's almost. There we are. Sword Sage would be laughing at me, but okay. My so I hope that covered that a little bit. Like I said, I'm limited. I intend in the very near future to completely redesign my study, both for work and that. And I do apologize. Honestly, I know the metric system is superior. I will say that. However, I was trained so heavy in Fahrenheit, I can work with metric, but I don't think in metric. And it's sort of like inches versus centimeters, which is funny because I do a lot of small work in millimeters when I'm designing miniatures for like big stompy robots. But I need to check. I'm going to type something here. Give me just a second, because I'm having some problems with uh Facebook. I'm not Facebook, YouTube. And my goal is to eventually get to 1,000 uh subscribers so that I can help people. But I'm putting the link to my Amazon page. Yeah, ABC is terrifying. Uh, but I am an odd mix because I was raised watching vast quantities of BBC, but in an American school system. So culturally, I am bizarre, and I accept that. Jeez. Um. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, it is actually 30. It is almost 9 o'clock at night. We got up to 41 in. Oh, there goes my thing destabilizing. Let me just fix that. Okay, there we are. Sorry, we got up to 41 Celsius in the daytime to give scale of what we've been kind of dealing with. But yeah, it is about 30 right now in my study because for some reason the air conditioner and the airflow in this place, with this being on a western wall, does not keep things cool. Wow. Okay, Ogre. Wow. Anyway, um, but yeah, let's see. Let's talk a bit. How are you guys doing gear wise? It's an interesting way to look at it. Um, what are you guys using for personal protection when you spar? And it looks like so far it looks like Johnny Cage's is to be I. Where are you from, Johnny? If I'm allowed to know, I'm curious because you said it's in America, so I'm just curious what neck of the world you guys are from. Kitty's Canadian. I love Canada. Canada's beautiful. Last time I went through, but wow, the last time I went through Canada, I was hanging off of a cliff by a chain, looking at cave etchings of Mishu Peshu, the lake god. Really, Brazil. You know what? It's funny you say that. One, thank you. I love that I'm that international. Uh, I actually have fairly regular purchases of my books from Brazil. I don't know if that's you. If it's you, thank you very much. If not, that's just cool because what I love seeing is somebody will buy like the simple sword, and then a week later I'll get a couple purchases, and that means that people have talked and they're trying to get the things. Okay. Well, you're a solo practitioner most of the time, Cindy. So I get that. And you guys are in Utah. I will tell you, I am roughly middle middle west. So middle north south west east western side east west in the state of Indiana. I grew up in the northwest Indiana region, which actually has beaches that are quite nice and lots of forests, and I am surrounded by corn. I'm in the computer corn patch. Yep. Believe it or not, Cindy and I could both fish for corn sharks in the same patch. But that's fine. I have no beef. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And it's funny because she does a lot of really great shows where she sells her books and comics and things. Because of the Delta variant numbers in my area, I'm having to watch very careful. Nice, Ogre. Um, Brazil actually has always been on my travel list. I'd like to spend some time in South America, if only to get away from large numbers of people. But as English is my only speaking language of quality, say for occasionally doing some Japanese due to I was doing really well till we switched Japanese teachers and got a very attractive young woman who liked to do jumping jacks, at which point my academics fell miserably. Uh, but I learned enough Latin that with brush ups, I can yell back at the things that growl in the dark. Um, I'm so glad. Yeah, Sword Sage is amazing. He is a really neat guy. I was a teenage boy, sat in the front row. Yes, I was distracted. And yes, uh, so Pretty Women and Incredible Artists. That's I yes, that's pretty much my domain. I travel. It is funny when I look at my friends, how many of the people I've had the pleasure of knowing are staggeringly beautiful and have no clue of it. It really is fascinating. Um, but then again, I tend to like the people who don't realize how good their traits are. But that's just me. Um, but yeah, I greatly enjoy the company of women. Hey, no, nothing wrong with that. I've known several professors that boobs or a skirt would help you pass at the college level, both male and female. Obviously, not terribly applicable to me, but that is fascinating. Now, I have to admit something, and I'll admit it here. I I was misled many years ago with a footage of a fight between a capoeira practitioner and supposedly a Marine, and I found out only recently that it was staged. It was for a film, and I didn't know that. But lucky spare Dane for fellow American talents. Jeez. Um. Right. Well, right now I'm not traveling much, but if we get in an environment, I'd love to help somebody find what they're supposed to find. I tend to be a force of karmic adjustment. I'll admit that freely. Uh, but yeah, I that's one thing I love, Kitty. I love when people start comparing and contrasting styles and seeing how they overlap. For me, a lot of Jin and Tai Chi has infected my sword and rapier. I just run the bad habit of matching the style of anyone I'm fighting. So within a few minutes, I will fight them the way they fight me. It's just it's an odd habit I have. It's sort of like being taskmaster unwillingly. So I have to be in the mindset to spar my own style. See, that's love. I love that there's a love connection. Now we're about an hour in, so I want to put a huge shout out to my Patreon members, especially Frog G and Silver Ogre, who I was literally part of why we had problems was I was fighting the settings on YouTube to make sure that you're listed on every video that comes out as I release them, as just to show off the glory that you are. They're always in the description. And you, I've actually, it's funny. On the topic of distraction via attractive students or opponents, I have known attractive students and attractive opponents, and it's much like when I'm in art mode. Now, people who know me know I have a bit of a lascivious sense of humor in that I grew up watching Benny Hill. I have a lascivious sense of humor at times. But whenever I'm on the job, and I have basically three major components that qualify as the job. When I'm instructing fencing, Western martial arts, when I'm doing artwork or certain other, we'll say, supernatural research things and leave it at that. That's not what this channel's about, and I'm retired out of that zone. So we're not going to go there, but I will confess that that's part of the suit. It just turns off. Much to the confusion of people. I've had women walk by and actually comment to my wife that he was staring at me back when we were dating. And she looked at him and went, "No, he wasn't. Hold on. It's your boots." Flags me over. We're talking about, do you see the buckles on those boots? Those are so cute. I would love to use those in an art design. May I sketch the buckle? And it's like, it's total disconnect. It is the weirdest mental process. Like when I will joke, I will flirt, but as soon as I hit that list field, I am proper on that font, that domain to extremes. And you have to be. Because at times when you are doing training, uh an attractive comer, be they male, female, whatever affects you. Yeah, I get distracted by the ventilated light design on these. I absolutely love, but I have no luck drawing like light flare. I've never got that color aspect right. I tend to think in black and white, but I love like that cyberpunk LED light, like how that just, oh, I love it. But anyhow, but once I hit the thing, I have to, all that gets left on the list field edge. And it's funny because my propriety, it's almost like a whole different personality where it's like, okay, now I need to do this. I may have to touch your wrist, your waist, side of your knee or something. And I always ask, I talk through. I never train anybody female without somebody else in the room. Unless, actually, I prefer not to be alone with anybody because of propriety. That's part of the reason why I really prefer to record my videos. Because technical difficulty. Okay, that is almost fixed. 1 second, my computer is trying to update, and I am not having that. I normally catch the updates, but it just hit as I'm trying to run my show. Come on. Okay, there we are. I fixed that. But sorry. When I'm training somebody, it's all about the training. And last week's practice was not a training practice. Last week's practice was we haven't seen each other for nearly 2 years. We're going to play patty cake a bit. I discovered some things about the yard. Yeah, you know what? I record because when it is a tech. No, I record so people can see what happened. So for liability issues, I want everybody to see where they stand, and honestly, so that there's never a chance. I have known people who have fabricated stories about other people, and I've seen whole lives destroyed. So I tend to be cautious on that front. This is why I'm very selective who I work with, where I work with. There are people who I'll watch how they're behaving, be like, "You're not fighting today." Sit down, chat, drill, but you're not in a place to do it mentally right or whatever. And the other part is, as I've said, uh, I work with a lot of people who have trauma. And when you work with people with trauma, especially people whose trauma overlaps with a loss of, a lack of consent. So that's people who've survived rape, people who've been abused, uh, PTSD of any sort, especially combat. You always talk through what you're doing. Okay. This is vital. This is important. It's not fun to talk about these things, but it's important. So it's like, if until I know someone really well, and I'll still usually do it, be like, okay, you need to move your hand over. Can I touch your hand? Okay, we're going to move over. Because some days people might be fine, other days they might not be. And it's all about communication. Just I have there have I will tell you that I was unjustly fired from a job for refusing to leave the room where my cash register was because a employee was threatening to change her clothes. And I'm like, "Go to the bathroom. I'm responsible for the register. You need to leave the room. I'm responsible for the register. You need to leave. You need to go to the restroom where you can do that safely." And I actually got fired for that. And then it was overturned as unjust, but I'm going to talk about it because it's true. Exactly. This is why I don't like, and I'm going to tell you, I don't like being alone with anybody. I have had issues of different sorts with both genders. When I say both, I'm not I'm not ignoring trans or non-binary. I'm just saying at the time colloquially. So please don't misconstrue anything I'm saying. But so that's part of my rules. Now there are some people who have come out and they're like, please don't film. And it's because I've had people who are active contractors, and when they aren't playing with me, they are in redacted stan doing things to people, and some of those people aren't happy with them. I get that. Like I said, I'm very careful, and I have to be, because it's so easy to have a mistake. It's so easy to be misunderstood. I also have a speech impediment. Yeah, exactly, Foxy. It's like, dude, I'm originally from the West Coast. The dude is all, and all is dude. Okay, and it abides. But and there's some people I will flirt with, some people I won't. There are whole complex rules. But the point being, yeah, I have to be careful, and you have to be careful, not just to protect yourself, but to be respectful of those around you. And this is something we need to keep a mind on as martial artists, because there are people who I could sit and for them it would be totally consensual. Speech impediment time. But and that's why Robert Downey Jr. should have gotten like a whole bunch more Oscars. Anyway, but I could literally stab them, slash them, tangle them up, throw them down, but they would never be comfortable with a barehanded touch of any nature. And I've had students like that. And as long as you can't be afraid if you have something that triggers you. You can't be afraid to politely but confidently say, this is where my boundaries are. Setting boundaries is vital. I have people, for example, dude. I love when something falls over and you're like, at least I'm like, dude, why? Because not only am I calling it an inanimate object, dude, I am questioning its motivations. But like I said, a lot of the people I work with are veterans, and I grew up around veterans. And I am a fat civilian against stolen valor. Okay? I am not a vet. I have not served. Whatever. Understood. No worries. And it's a colloquialism. It is a localish term. Everybody has different ones and different ways of saying things, and I respect that. I tend to pick it up as soon as I'm around anybody. But when we meet up, I have rules. Like the person who has the most trauma, usually militarily, gets the seat that's most secure. And I know that for my different groups. So even if I would prefer to sit somewhere, I have people who can't. It's a sliding scale. It's fascinating. Most veterans have to have their back. Combat vets. When I say veterans, I'm usually referring to combat vets in this concept. But those who have engaged in consistent and they have to have their back to a wall. They have to see everybody. Usually see that. Many times, I am fully aware that they are packing. Hi, Darkmoon. And yes, I know who you are, but I'll always call you by the call sign that's up. Now I have some people who are totally comfortable with their back to a window because they were only physically assaulted by people who they knew. So it's all hand-to-hand stuff. So they'll have their back to a window because they still feel secure because no one's getting behind them and doing anything. And it's a whole progressive thing. My situation is highly adaptable, is the best way I can put it. I have my preferences, but I slides because that's what I was brought up to be. Now, I know what does this understanding your students, understand your colleagues, understand yourself. And that is Elric. Elric goes by a couple names. Have you got that sword, Elric? Elric was commissioning some smaller, I believe, smaller gripped, like 1.33s or something, or smaller Barbary sabers from Purple Heart. I would love to know how that's going. So drop it in the chat. I'm going to keep talking, but don't be afraid to write in the chat, and never hesitate to interrupt me if something good's going on. Exactly. There are some people I know who are like, my wife is great. I think my mom walked up to her. She goes, "I'm a hugger." My wife's head, "I'm a shaker." And you work with that. There are some people I will never touch. There are people in my circles I will never lay hands because I am a white male and that triggers them. But there are some people who, like, there have been people in my life whose greeting is to jump on you like a spider monkey. And I can, if allowed to be, it's like, I don't like most people, but the people I like, I will like big fat guy hug. I'll be like, these are my people. I love them, and it's mine. And there's nothing sexual about it, just this belongs to me. Yes, exactly. Agoraphobes. Agoraphobes. That's interesting. You say agoraphobes because I've had most of the people who have fear of open spaces prefer to be dead center in the group. The claustrophobes among us have to be on the outside, of which I number. Oh, is that? I thought. Now I'm wondering what term I may have been misusing because I have. Uh, yeah, I did not realize that agoraphobia. That's fascinating. I did not realize it applied to both vast open spaces and crowded spaces because that affects me. Sometimes I get they're breathing my air. That oh, thank you. Fear of the marketplace. That makes perfect sense, and that term then actually both terms apply to me because I feel very vulnerable in flat open areas and I cannot do crowds. It's funny, I need to be near crowds sometimes for just the energy of humanity. But I've had, because of my background, I've had mobs turn ugly. So yeah. That being said, if I am in a group where other people have problems, I will be uncomfortable so that they are not, because that's part of my job. Unless I'm having a very, very bad time. But then I just leave. It is funny. I'm the only person I know who has to leave their own, like, if I have a birthday party, I have to leave for a while and just isolate myself because I can only have people, even if I love them, around me so much. But then I get attention starved and touch starved. It's very weird and strange. But understanding that is part of understanding. There's a lot more human analysis that goes into what we do. And that's the other thing. Who am I with? The more comfortable I am with people, the more vulnerable I can allow my position to be relatively. That being said, I mechanically cannot function if I don't have a knife on me. Let me amend that. There have been times where I haven't been allowed to have a knife on me, and I have functioned because I literally kept a sledgehammer in hand. But I still wasn't happy. I get it. And guys, that's okay. I don't know if anyone has ever and this might sound odd, giving you permission to say, I'm uncomfortable with crowds. I'm uncomfortable with people or noise. We live in a world that we exactly, and I can see that too. The content of the crowd I am fiercely aware of. So I feel the shift in a crowd when the membership changes or the attitude changes long before anybody else. And that's when I tend to DD Mao. But knowing that, that's called tactical awareness. And part of what I teach fantastic, fun, we're going to sword fight and have a good time. But then I teach real strategies for dealing with, and many people feel that way. Kitty says, surrounded by small women and men, no thank you. A lot of times it's hard for me because I read people. I once got asked why I don't go to the sci-fi conventions and get autographs. And the problem with that for me, one, big crowds. I don't mind working a con. I'm very good at it because I have a booth. I have my space. I can go out. I have a place to retreat to where they can't go. Which sounds terrible because I love people. I love running games. But I have to have a diehard space. And if that's not all but taped off, or somebody working with me takes it, I lose it. Yeah. But I will say, Foxy says tactical awareness can also be called paranoia when people don't understand. Oh, okay. Ogre, that's fine. We'll be here. I'm not going anywhere for at least 40 minutes. Paranoia is just another word for longevity. That was written by Laurel K. Hamilton, as said by her character Anita Blake, Vampire Hunter. Kitty, you're not the only one. I have been physically assaulted by men and women, successfully, violently, attempted sexually. We'll put it that way, by both major accepted genders. And I don't hold that against any one group, but I hold it universally. I can only deal with so many vampire hunters. Well, Johnny, it's a little different when you're trying. I hold little mercy for predators who are uncomfortable around armed sheep. That's part of my American mythos-ish. The idea of sheepdogs are very important species, and I respect them. That too. That being said, I've had see, the funny thing is I'm 90%. Wow. My world has been so colorful at points. My statistical analysis that Johnny Cage isn't actually some type of vampire is in the high 90s, but not 100%. That should tell you wonders about the circles I've traveled in. I wish it worked quite as well as it's supposed to, and we have to fight to maintain it. Hashtag knife rights for all. But yeah, it is necessary. Hi, puppy. I love puppies. To be able to defend yourselves. And where I've said it before on this channel, I'll say it again. I will always make a space, despite my personal beliefs one way or another, for the discussion on different types of firearms. That is something I feel that can be discussed in answer to existing problems. Regardless of my opinion, the discussion has merit. The knife discussion for me. There is no discussion. I believe that every single knife law is unconstitutional. Hard stop. If that offends people, I accept that's offensive. If people hold that against me politically, militarily, logistically, employment wise, exactly. Um, Part of it is it's been proven the people who carry a pocket knife, and I cannot remember where I got the statistic, it was years ago, in an emergency setting are twice as likely to survive. In part because it's a vital tool, but more likely because the mentality of the person who has one of those, who carries a pocket knife with them, is such that they've taken the time to learn skills that help. Thesis says, I don't like guns. There's a gun fetish in this country, which makes me uncomfortable. Why can someone go into a market with several guns? But if I try, and that depends on the state by state. Um, I'm not a gun fetishist. I see them as a wrench. Uh, just like I see most things, they are a tool for doing a job. Because of my conditions, that being that my hands are not terribly reliable. Okay. I have tremors, my hands drop things. It would be irresponsible for me to concealed carry. And I understand that. And admitting that on a public forum is dangerous in my mind, but it needs to be said. I do that because it is me not carrying is the responsible choice because I have enough conditions with tremors and weight control that I could the chance of me having a stray bullet is high enough to prevent day to day, outside concealed carry. I admit it. Can I use them? Absolutely. Can I make them go? Absolutely. Can I make a variety of firearms work functionally at short to medium range? Yeah. Do I choose to? Not currently. Part of it is the legalities, part of it is I have an autistic son, but I also don't believe in interfering with the rights of others. Now, I have a variety of responses for self defense in my home that I will not list here because I don't feel that's appropriate. But there are choices that can be made, and defending your home is a different tactical situation than going out looking for trouble. I am very careful where I am. I'm very tactical. Because of it, I have what I call applied cowardice. I know that is a derogatory term. And a lot of people get mad at me who are not experienced in violence. I have been beaten, I've been shot at, I've been held, had knives used against me, I've had guns drawn on me a lot at different points in my life. Large numbers of people, small numbers of people, indoors, outdoors. I've seen some stuff. And I have the right to do all sorts of dramatic responses. And I don't judge you what you take. But my primary is simply tactical awareness. And if I have any doubt of a situation, I just leave. I'm not currently paid to intercede. I have been paid to intercede where I have had to regularly and consistently professionally disarm individuals of unright mind and deal with applied violence on a day-to-day basis. Uh, in some cases, it was not militarily. That's the wrong term. Militant, very aggressive, special needs individuals. Discretion is the best. Ogre, you are so in sync. That is literally one of my family mottos. It's keep charging the enemy as long as there is life, and discretion is the better part of valor. I also believe that anyone who favors firearms as personal defense should train in alternatives in case it becomes politically or situationally untenable to use them. And note, I am not wading into the gun debate. I'm saying my opinion is that right now I don't, for medical reasons, choose to carry. That is a very specific selective term. I'm very careful with this. Do I carry a knife every waking minute? Yes. Can I defend myself with my knife? Yeah. I'm far more likely to use my cane or something nearby because if I use a knife, I'm likely to kill somebody. And I don't want to. Anytime I've had to inflict violence, be it therapeutic, and that was the word I was looking for, or self defense in a more traditional way, I have felt terrible. You know, in my youth, I've had to defend myself. So in my middle age, I avoid it greatly because not, well, one is, I am at heart a Christian, and I do believe that it is an evil thing to hurt somebody. I absolutely believe that, but it may be a necessary thing. So to balance that pragmatism with a hope of spiritual development, I try to walk a higher path. And I know tactically it's foolish. I understand that. Um I also understand I am disabled to a margin. I am still greatly overweight even though I'm doing better. Hi Voxy. I can't afford to delude myself with being able to get in a situation where I'm exchanging blows, real world. And that, like I said, this is not sparring. I spar and I train in part, obviously, to help others, but in part to help myself stay functional and to. It's almost more important that I know how functional I am. I need to be able to test, am I moving fluidly? What's hurting? Because the more knowledge I have, the better my preparation can be. And it may mean that I am extra careful. It may mean instead of going somewhere, uh, it's a sliding scale of how bad it can be. So it's the difference between I might go to a Walmart on a weekday, but I'm not likely. Oh, that coffee sounds good. I have coffee waiting for me. Uh, and I drink Folgers breakfast blend. I love that stuff. It's mellow, high caffeine, kind of low on the acid, not burnt at all. Takes flavor well. You add a little bit of vanilla in like the soy milk or whatever, or a little bit of chocolate. Oh my gosh, it's delightful. But that being said, I'm not likely to go out, say, on Black Friday to a lot of places simply because if it gets ugly, I might not be able to get out of the way fast enough, so I just don't go. I understand that this mentality has cost me money. I understand it's cost me opportunities, and it's the same mentality I apply to keeping track of the unspeakable event that's going on. I may go to a small Wally World, but I'm not likely to go to the larger one in the college town that currently is packed to the gills with new students trying to get moved in. And that's okay, Foxy. It's okay to not like the taste of coffee. Um, uh, I'm a proud proponent of you have the right to be wrong. And exactly. Every time I have gone against my gut, every single time I've overrode my this feels like a bad thing. It has been life endangeringly dangerous. So now it doesn't have to shout because I believe yes, Cyber Monday. Uh I believe that no. Um I believe that, for me, I consider it God. Whatever you want to, he, she, it, they, it's not my job to preach. There are much better people for that. But wow, I slammed into Foxy's last comment and just failed a save versus derp. Give me a moment. Anyway, it is not my job to be that kind of preacher. Intercession, occasionally. I've done that in the past. That's part of why I'm retired. But but if you listen, there's something. It might be your innate spider sense. It might be a higher power. I'm not really worried about who you decide it is, but if it's that gut wrenching, they found nerve clusters. They realized there's almost a second brain worth of nerves in your digestive tract. That's why you feel bad stuff in your gut. Awesome. Cool. I can't wait to see your sword stuff. But listen to it. And what's funny is if you fence enough and you're fighting with any seriousness, that starts to tell you. And if you do it enough, you'll be able to parry shots as they're coming in. Because you're listening and like your mind hasn't processed the information that's come in the front, but the back knows what's going on. So sometimes it's the whole, I don't need to know why this is wrong. I just need to remove myself. Which there is, I'm going to swear mildly, there is a proud guild tradition, and I teach when in doubt, get the hell out. That means if you're sparring with somebody and you don't like the way the clutch, the bout, the exchange, wherever it's going, get out of there and reset. Don't let them dictate the flow of battle. Whenever possible, you want to be the one dictating the engagement as much as possible. That doesn't necessarily mean aggression. Often, and in my experience, more often, people will be predictively aggressive. So being able to back off is important. So we're gonna. Wow, this has gotten all across the board. I am planning because my wife has. Okay, I'm gonna get on topic for a minute. I'm gonna back off of that. I think we've covered it. Oh, hey, no worries. Ulrich, Dark Moon, Miracle. And to the people who may not notice, I tend to use call signs because if somebody's looking and they're watching the chats pop up, sorry, that way they can check what I'm talking about. Yeah, I am looking for let me rewind. Wow, I'm off the rails tonight. I'm off the rails for me, and that's not where I want to be. So getting back, my wife filmed some footage on her phone, which she sent me over Facebook Messenger, but I can't download it off of Messenger right now, so it's being glitchy. So I'm gonna have to borrow her phone. I will be processing a bunch of the videos. I'll probably throw the raw videos up unedited for the guild if that's something you guys would like on the Patreon. And then the edited ones will go up on the standard. Ooh. Easy and anonymous. I've lost something here. Anyway, I don't know what's going on in the chat, so I think I'm going to avoid the discussion of Foxy sleepwear for a while. Not that I'm sure it's not that it's not a pleasant conversation. Wow, folks, I'm in full Doc syndrome tonight. But as you can see, my I'm going to reset with the tactical tambourine. Okay, now. Yep, we're going to. I get you. I'm going to talk about some of the footage. I'm going to put that up there. I've got some new developments because I actually have had to reset my list field twice. I set it once with some new lighting and things, and we got hit with a massive storm. And my overhead lighting was gone. Absolutely. Like somebody got gifted a whole lot of solar lights and other shenanigans somewhere in this town and promptly mopped them up and went mine, mine, mine. So I'm resetting my backyard. We found out that the flooding revealed some new potholes. So there's going to be a lot of development. People asking why I'm not buying new trainers. Well, I'm saving up because once it's cool enough, I want to lay down plastic or yard fabric and mulch and make the fighting area a whole lot more. Okay, I see what you did. No knuckle bow. Gotcha. That, let's see, 33-inch blade. Okay, that's going to give good balance. Wheel pommel. Oh, with a wheel pommel, you you can actually get the fender washers if you drill a hole or have them and modulate extra weight on the pommel to pull the center balance back from the tip. That could be fascinating. I used to play Bodrin. Um, Guys, I'm a semi-retired. I'm a former Scadian. I dabble in tin whistle. I used to play Bodrin a bit before obviously with my wrist issues. Bodrin's played with a double-ended kind of knotted mini club thing. It makes a really neat sound. I mean, like I got. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. That does not sound good at all. That sounds like it broke. Let me check. Did something happen to the... I don't like that sound. Nothing's broken. Oh, what is that? That is my missing Allen key that somehow... This is actually my wife's Doombeck. But, I don't know. It's called Bilotti, and anybody who who has access to either a drum like this is a Doombeck. This is my wife's nice. It has padding. My metal one is put up. You might get to see that at some point. This is an aluminum one with a really nice wrap that, due to some temperature issues, shrunk, and I have to fix for her. But Doombecks are great because you have 3 notes: Doon, Teka, Doon, Teka, Doon, 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 Teka. Oh, I'm sorry, Teka. Got it wrong. Doon, Doon, Teka, Teka, Doon, Teka, Tek. Learn this. If you learn Bilotti, if you learn to go over and over and over again, enough, you will be able to summon belly dancers. They just appear. It's really weird. You just get used to it. I am cursed. Actually, I'm cursed by many things, both mundane and supernatural. But one of those curses is that I can either drum for belly dancers or watch the belly dancers. But if you don't have a Doombeck or a Jibway or one of the larger hand drums, you can the plastic coffee drums make plastic coffee cans make a good workaround. The large tubs the large plastic things that like pork rinds or cheese doodles come in, you get a boom, doom, doom, tekka, tekka, doom, tekka, tek. Now, obviously, again, with the way my hands are, I can't do that much nor for long. But yeah, I play a version of a panpipe. I play I know several belly dancers. We can actually work if you're interested in trying to learn that. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. My wife's gonna be confused because she's gonna wonder why I'm doing Bilotti. But absolutely love belly dance. I learned I learned a bit of Bodrin from a drunken man named Fox. He has right across his hairline bright red hair, and he shaves part of his head to reveal a blue fox. Just a brilliant fellow. Oh, okay, Marimbo. Cool. I'm not classically musically trained. I had difficulty with it because I was undiagnosed dyslexic, so keeping the notes from floating around on the page is dicey. But I'm pretty good with a D tin whistle, and I'm very good if I have tablature in front of me. Oddly enough, there's enough difference in the designs that it keeps things rooted. So I dabble with that usually around Christmas. Oh, my birthday is next week. Yay. I'm turning 40 to those of you who want to know. I'm not giving the exact day because that doesn't need to be broadcast that much. But my wife got me a present. Y'all want to see? It's a dice bag. It's a Molly compatible dice bag. And this is the pouch where I keep like the jerky sticks and a small notepad. And it has a wonderful zip string that holds, among other things, my current brain, which, if you are doing anything logical, these smart notes, you can get them at Walmart usually. They look like this. It gives you a graph paper and then name, date, and line tracking. These are amazing. Yes, actually, Johnny, inside is the Altoids tin. Inside the Altoids tin is the die I recently acquired that I was going to sell, and I keep. To those of you who watch the Red Valkyrie Presents Dice Dames and Dudes, or Dice Dudes and Dames, dyslexia gets a hold of it. 3D. This is the Perpetual 19 die. This throws an ungodly number of 19s. As a player, I would feel it's cheating to use, but as a DM, I'm totally fine with it. So this gets in there. I even have a dedicated quarter for coin flips, and that lives in my dice bag. Other dice and shenanigans will be in here at some point, but right now I don't need that grade of chicanery. Actually, this though, mechanical pencil is in the book. Triple D. Yep, triple D. Triple D. Should have known. That's a bit small in the circles I travel in, but that's okay too. Nobody's perfect. Sorry, Sai. Not making a shot. And most of you don't know who Sai is, but anyhow, they're great. They're fabulous. And Shay, one of the hostesses of that program, has made a live steel version of the Hello Karambit, folks. It's still in progress. She's doctoring it up. When it is done, I will try to share pictures or something on the Facebook group. It is delightfully appalling to people who take things too seriously. Oh, I play D&D? Okay, let me show you what we have here. I'll bring it back out. Most of the time, I can get by with a D20. Oh, there is a separate inside hidden pocket in here, I think. I did not know that. Anyhow, my book opened up around the box. We'll talk D&D for a moment. A standard dice set is 7 dice. It's a 20-sider that looks like this, a 12-sider that looks like that, 2 10-siders, one labeled in 10s digits, one labeled in 1s digits, an 8-sider, a standard 6-sider, and a 4-sider. These correlate to different weapons and abilities throughout most RPGs. However, my box is a little different because it also contains 3 custom 6-siders. These are numbered 4, 5, 6 twice. I use these for character creation and my good or evil die. This is a standard 6-sider, but Half is red, half is blue. Whenever I really need to decide if something lives or dies, if things have a second chance or chicanery, when the line gets bad, I have that. Oh, I'm so jealous. Syndicap has Amaguri dice, each of the side. I had a plush dice set tucked away, but I absolutely love dice. Oh, now this is not my no. I have a not only do I have a little gumball vending machine, I have many dice because the booth I run when I work cons sells gaming stuff. So I have dice, I have some laminated game boards, I have uh usually the wooden miniatures I make for big stompy robots. I am a multi-class gamer, but most like depending on the system I'm running, like I can run uh the hybrid system, the base plus 2 entirely with a single D20 because I've made it that way. Big stompy robots can be run entirely with a single D10. I like rules simple game systems. I find them easier to work with. Melee, I think, requires 2d6s. I think. It's been years, but that's one of the first games I ever made. And then you need a full set for the existing version of Beneath Briargate, but that's a microlight RPG system. I'm jealous of that. And guys, I know I went way off topic, but there's going to be a lot more special content coming up in probably this week. We'll have some live matches. If the weather breaks without drowning me, I want to talk about the Swakhammer Metals spears that John Swakhammer made. Torvald Swakhammer / John Miner. I think you need to try a gaming con, and they probably would sell. It may be just the wrong bait for the wrong pond. The way I do things, there's not a lot of math because as a game designer, when I design a system, I make it as math light and I do as much of the crunch behind the scenes as possible. Which is getting into how I made. Where did it go? Where did my nice copy of that go? Did it fall? There's a sword. There it goes. Oh, there it is. When I made this for Luke Stone, I did all the crunch. I'm a game mechanic. He did the art and layout. But when I designed this, I wanted it to be very rules light, very easy. And it is because I crunched all the math. So they're like, yeah, basically. I'm surprised. That really, well, we're also in a very weird time for gaming and cons in general. But back when we were playing for D&D Beyond, if you guys are looking for a D&D compatible system, I recommend this. I don't get paid. I have no financial beans for this one. This, Sons of Gods, I absolutely get paid for. This is just one I support because it's free to download. The softcover books are $5 or less. This beautiful hardcover edition was like 13 something. Basic Fantasy is old school D&D, which looks something like this, but not, this is I lost a ring. Anyway, I've used this system for $30, but makes sense. And we know about Schrodringer. You are definitely in a Schrodringer approved group. But anyway, I want to talk about those because he made some beautiful weapons for demonstration, but not necessarily sparring. And we're going to get into why. Because John is a wonderful craftsman. It just takes some tweaking. And we're going to see, because I find it interesting, and I love a good spear. Yeah, Cindy. I know her basic site. When in doubt, I think there's a link off her main site, which is www.ckoepp.com. And if there isn't, I don't know. If you have an Etsy or something, we could get it. I may have to approve the link later. YouTube's been funny, but oh, I don't know if they're on there yet, but there is a contact form. Contact Cindy because she's amazing. Also, while we're at it, one of my beloved patrons, and when I say this man reshaped my life in 2019 into 2020, Brian K. Morris. This man brought a huge number of the good people you see into my life, and I'm a proud member of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We've just my printer's down, so I can't make a new sexy graphic for all the shows. But go to Risingtide.pub. Okay, well, maybe we need to work on that. I'm actually considering setting up an Etsy page to sell direct downloads to see if I get more that way. I'm not sure. Right now, all my written stuff, with the exception of uh hybrids related, is through Amazon because Jeff Bezos has the biggest show in town and it gets around. And you know what? That means I can sell my fighting manuals in places like Brazil for folks like Johnny Cage. And oddly enough, I do occasionally. Yes, Cindy Kep is definitely riding on the edge. But while we're at it, I'm gonna throw links because we're towards the end. I got 3 minutes, and I will throw some links you guys made because these are in uh the description, but no, a lot of people miss it. But we do have a lovely uh Patreon where I get to answer questions. I do polls. Basically, if any of my patrons who haven't talked to me over here put on Patreon, awesome. As soon as it's up, we'll do a big spiel about it, Cindy. But they put up a request. I hop to. If it's in my power, I will definitely make it happen because that's what I do. My Patreon members are what allow me to not have to charge the students who come out because I don't feel that the people who need help should have to look at their wallet and decide if they can afford it. And that means I've spent 30 years buying gear for other people. God, well, 20 years. 30 years buying gaming gear for other people, but 20 years buying gear for other people. I do want to shout out, I got, James Robertson, who is a longtime guild member, bought me a new mask. So for the first time in 20 years or so, I have a new fencing mask. I was excited to wear that out. Let's see. And yes, I can guarantee Cindy Kep will keep her weird jokes. But I am, among other things, I do have an art page which I've had for now 17 years, where I've been known to take art commissions for the people who are interested in that. And yes, it is a deviant art. I've had it a very long time. They've been very good to me, so I'm very loyal. So if you want to support the art there, I can be found on Twitter at ntalker. And I'm trying to encourage people to look me up there. because I have a lot of family members and stuff on my Facebook, and I'm trying to keep that to closer connected people. I think that's reasonable. But yes, Cindy Kemp is a fount of beautiful, wonderful, usually incredibly clean humor. And yes, by all means. Cool. Follow me if you're on DA. Follow me, Nick T. I'm old enough that I have a name like Nick T on DA, but and you can see my progression, art, hints, stuff from my big stompy robots, other things. Now I will never hold spelling typos against anybody. And yes, one last plug for myself in that I can be found at www.amazon because people ask about how to get my books.com/author/Nicholas Talker. That is me. I do not run by, mystery handles on the internet because I'm all about kind of transparency. This is what I'm about. Uh, so if you want to check out my books, like I said, I'm a game designer. I have these. I am working on the Poor Swordmaster's Guide to Arms and Armor. Ha! Johnny, I'm so glad you like that. He is referring to a picture I did of Frog G, who's one of my Patreon members, and a commenter. Johnny has something in the works along that line from that campaign, but I haven't gotten it right, and I'm not going to fail to do right by you, Johnny. You can follow that link because at some point, everybody's favorite vampire will make a slash body hopping vampire. And yes, I don't know where that I saw the comment, but there is lore for what you're doing and how you're doing it. I understand that. My problem is I'm a I'm a varied artist, I'm a varied publisher, and I tend to stand behind what I do. If you don't like it, that's fine, but I'm not comfortable not showing. That's awesome. Now, I will tell anyone who watches, if you haven't noticed, I have a severe speech impediment I work around. So more exotic names may be butchered, bastardized, or abbreviated. But I respect anybody, it's never done out of malice. It's simply done out of I'm tripping over what's left of my own tongue. I'm sure they did. But guys, we're well past 2 hours, and I want to thank you for making the jump, uh, being understanding about the glitch video for basically S and G. Yeah, you see, I have to be careful. Last time I tried to say a long Arabic name, I summoned an archdemon, and that's why I call Bladed Thesis because his name is not Arabic, but it has enough highlights that it was great fun. Uh, for S&G, I will throw the deleted video up on Patreon probably because it's a different scenario. I may have to zap the audio, but I know there's nobody can come have any confusion about that there. There will be more videos as soon as I can get them off the assorted devices and edited. The raw ones will probably go up to my Patreon members. I owe you guys a video on Buckler. I simply haven't had anyone. My wife's in physical therapy for her arm, so she hasn't been up to doing the pokey stabby bits, and I'm doing home physical therapy on my wrists, so it's been clever. There will be a Buckler video coming out very soon. Uh, Thank you. I want to do some spear and staff discussion videos. Now, most of those will get up secret linked to the Patreon first because they pay for it, so they get to see it first. And then I give them a vote if they want to share, because if there's anything they want to keep to themselves, it's fair. no, so far no one's ever taken me up on that, and I respect them highly for it. But we're going to do that. I'm planning to the people asking me about both game contracts and the related stuff. There's some things going on behind the scenes where I am how do I put this? I have a set of confidences and a set of NDAs that both are throttling me right now, in that I can't talk about a lot that's going on, but it is very nebulous. It is honestly, some of the stuff going on is quite scary for me, both on a social personal level and a business level. I just have to kind of keep my fingers crossed, pray for some people, and hope everything works out okay. And if not, I have to alter my plans. So I'm just kind of stuck waiting to hear back on some things. I will be working likely on the Swordmaster's Guide to Arms and Armor. And once that's out, I think I'm going to stick to the shorter format, because I checked my sales, and you know what? We'll talk about this. It's a little behind the scenes, but this sells a lot better than this. Not that there's a quality difference. This is more expensive, substantially, but it's also much more comprehensive. So it looks like you guys like little single topic books. So I'm thinking I might do a line. The next line of books will be in this format: black and white, simple statement size books on specific weapon styles and doing them of a more narrow margin. And especially my Patreon members, if that seems to appeal to you, please let me know. And people on here, please let me know, because I'm not out here trying to make money, although money would be very nice. I'm trying to provide a service that it might have to do a bit with the axe throwing fad. I don't really talk much about axe throwing in there. I talk more about fighting, but it's true. And I'm watching for what movies are coming out, because it's always good to be tied in to the weapon styles of movies that are coming out. I will say, if you like Arya and you like how she fights with her needle, you will love the Simple Sword. Oh, Nick, make sure you wait till Friday if your gift gets there earlier. I have a gift? Oh, I do have one big gift coming that I know of. And I want to do a proper review on the collage cutters. But if there's something else I didn't know about, awesome. Because my birthday is before Friday, obviously I will try to save the glory stuff up for Friday night. It will be mid-vacation, but I love you guys enough that I'm willing to do that. I did get something else that I got for myself. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't expect that. You guys are very good to me. Um, I did buy something for myself from an Etsy shop. It's it's a single cell of the theatrical release from the film Vampire Hunter D. I have a single theatrical cut film cell of D and Doris. And I think that's amazing. And it's going on my wall of cool, which hopefully in the next couple of weeks, as I get the situation redone, I'll be able to show you. Hey, I appreciate, guys. I appreciate anything. I don't. My first innate thought is I certainly don't deserve it. But I am eternally grateful. I've just that's kind of how I've learned. My imposter syndrome, guys, doesn't just manifest in the I'm not a good enough author or I'm not a good enough artist. I basically it goes all the way to not being a good enough human. So birthdays are not easy for me. That's why I used to always have a Halloween party on my birthday. But about 10 years I had a Halloween party. This year, it's just I'm watching the Delta numbers and I'm not sure. And I won't risk other people's lives simply for uh, my celebrating me. That goes counter to who and what I am. So we'll see. But I'll try to do something cool for the guild as part of that extra because I think that's how I roll, and we'll see how that all works out. D is not a traitor. D is if you're going to get into that, Johnny. Remember D is the direct descendant of your sacred ancestor, and the nobility has totally lost its way by that point and lost track of what it means to be a noble. But maybe at some point in the near future, I am quietly trying to teach myself StreamYard, and I would love to be able to bring panelists on for some program. I think that would be really entertaining for you guys to be able to, instead of have the talk. Hey, I don't, I don't get out much. I'm a primary caregiver for an autistic child in the middle of a pandemic. I don't leave the house a lot. So I will probably be here, but I appreciate that. And yes, I will gladly share what comes out. Now, see, Ogre gets it. Okay, and it don't be shady. The Dompiel is the superior evolution of both the vampire and the human. Don't hate on D because D is pretty. And if you guys haven't read the Vampire Hunter D novels, uh, read them. Further, I will let you in on a little secret. You should do that. You know what? We'll do that. You guys all, if you feel like it, for a Halloween in August, say by next Friday, uh, let's let you guys have a Halloween contest. I'll see if I can dig up any of my good costumes from the past, and I might throw them up on the Historical Fencing Guild public group. Because right now I don't have a lot preparation wise I can share. So we'll see. And yes, that is why. Let's talk about that. You know what? I'm going into overtime on this one. I love D's longsword. Oh my god. Oh my god. That Grand Messer, thick Kriegsmesser looking, because it's got too heavy a curve. Oh my god, I love that sword. So I'm thinking. Oh, I understand. Um, Actual Halloween, I'm usually busy because the veil's so thin. I get consult work or other chores that need done. But I don't know if you've seen it, but there is something called the Honshu tactical katana trainer. I think it is a classic black trainer, but instead of having a katana grip, it has a more knife-like grip. And I'm thinking that style weapon tends to be pretty dang light. Um, and with that, obviously doesn't have the guard, but looking at something like, where did it go? Because I took my glasses off. This, which has a downslide guard with a rubberized stretchy grip, this being the lovely 1.33 by PHA, which is actually still one of my favorite new swords. It's just I wish it were about a quarter-inch thinner or had a cup hilt. Hint, ton of bricks. I'm totally not working on making something like that. Uh, I'm thinking I might be able to put a cross guard of size on that, just for what's going on. And I've always kind of wanted to try that style weapon. It might be light enough, and the benefit of two-handed swords. Dear Lord, I'm going to mildly agree with Shad. That could be thing. I actually Ogre and Johnny, at one point I actually went as Alucard for one of my parties, but not Castlevania Alucard, Ultimate Helsing Abridged Alucard. I did not have the right pistol at the time, but that's okay. We made it work. I had fun. I was not intimidated because you were not intimidating. Anyhow. So yeah, you have to put a sliding scale on that. D is on a mission. D is the archetypical Western lone traveler. His mission, no one's really quite sure, but he gets paid to eliminate the nobility as it goes. Pretty boy Alucard, Blondie, if we will, was trying to stop his dad from being a complete dick. And it went too far, as things go. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is the greatest side-scroller ever made. Hard stop. But, now, then you get Alucard from Helsing. And from there, Alucard from Helsing Abridged. Okay, one thing, if you get a chance, read the Vampire Hunter D novels. They are a phenomenal masterpiece in cyberpunk, sci-fi, deep. I mean, you want world building and just it's almost noir. It is gorgeous mental visuals. Vampire Hunter D. Oh god, I lost the author's name and I'm ashamed, but that's okay because it's 10:30. Abano, thank you. Fantastic. Read the books. They are infinitely better than both animes, which are two of the greatest animes ever made. Certainly top tier running. I put them against anything, including Studio Ghibli, and I am a huge Studio Ghibli fan. Better than most things Madhouse has put out, which is saying something for an old school D&D guy, old school anime guy like me. But D wears what he wears because he has to. A lot of it's blocking sun sickness. And as a fact, ironically, I share that condition. I get it. So yeah, props to D. I don't go anywhere without a big floppy hat on. Really, I don't. I always wear a large hat and sunglasses everywhere. That's okay. Vampire Hunter D is an anime. There are two, Vampire Hunter D and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Great animated films. Well done. I like the story of the original Vampire Hunter D. Wow, is more classic. The second one, while incredible, is good, but the art in Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust is one of the most beautiful animated series ever done. There are only two. There are 29 novels, and they are amazing. There was a PS2 game that was phenomenal too, for the period. But one thing, if you study swords, you're going to see swords you like. And my boy Sephiroth. I mean, yeah, he's a mama's boy. That's an old joke between me and my friend. Trelena loves Kefka. I like Sephi. But the Masamune is a beautiful weapon. But D's signature curved longsword, which has a lot of names and canonically has some really neat pieces, is just iconic. And I love it. It's impractical and delightful. Dang it, jerk! Ogre! Ogre! You wooed me, Ogre! Run through! Shut through the heart! Yes, yes. Um, I'm gonna tell you this, Ogre. I used to wear boots before I had foot problems, and I was good enough that I could go clacking by in my boots, and then, without appearing to change my stride, be dead silent on hard tile, and then go bounce around. Uh, ladies, it's real easy. Look up Vampire Hunter D. I'm sure he's on some of the streaming services, if not the book novels. Somewhere I have a whole bunch of the PDFs my wife gave to me, but I think they're on a computer that's currently down. It's a great cyberpunk, futuristic. Oh, I am so sorry. Thank you, Foxy. I know I have a face for radio and a voice for silent movies, but thank you, I appreciate that. But yes, Jaraxle is definitely amazing. Yes, Alucard is definitely an S talk. Definitely, it's definitely S talk. But yes, an S talk is basically a rapier on steroids, and I love it. Print. Anyway, I'm not sure why you wrote print, Ogre, but might have been point and it just glitched it. I don't know, but yeah. Jaraxle is a very influential character on me, yes. As is, of course, my man Artemis and Tiri. I love Drizzt back in the day. Not so much of late, but old school Drizzt was good. But old school Artemis, oh, voice for print. Thank you. Yes, I have a voice for print. Um, although you guys may meet someone horrific in the RPG, depending on how things go. There is a very special NPC that's floating out there in the wilds that will hurt my voice to do, but just hope that the players never run afoul him because he would wipe them out. And any of the monsters, and just about anybody who gets in front of him. And he would really not, no one would see it coming because he's my hero. I had a period after my hands were messed up where I was running a very, very high fever. And I was feeling very creative, but I could not type. So I got the voice recorder out and I went to town and it was glorious. I get nothing wrong with Bruner. Nothing nothing wrong with the Boulder Shoulders or Thimbledorf Puent. Uh Yeah, that Johnny, you and I both know that was an absolute mercy on their part because they were squishy and they made a completely tactical failure. You would have had them. You absolutely would have had them. And that there are things going on with your character that transcend what everybody thinks is coming on. I'm having so much fun with people are like, what are the mechanics of Johnny's character? I get messages about that. His NPC. But oh, I lost the deep gnome's name. The one who'd go Belthrop and bang the hammer and pick hands together. Oh god, I love that guy too. But yes, several times. They should have died. But basically, part of it is keeping them alive for the purpose of entertaining you guys. Because if I was just looking to run the game, exactly, there is a very large sliding scale when I run the game, which I am still taking notes for, and I intend to at some point publish as a module so that other people can run around. And folks like Johnny and Frog G and Ogre, I think Ogre, you're gonna like the chef's big brother Ogre far more. Yeah, you know who I mean. And I would have said that word, Ogre, but there's no way mechanically my speech impediment is going to let me say Sverfneblin. Ooh, I actually came close. Without my throat hurting, which it does. Nice! Now, see, the other thing is I've been a DM so long that it's almost not fair for me to be a player. Because I think on a different level. Not necessarily, Johnny. I will tell you this: the players were one decision away from it becoming an evil campaign, and if you weren't, at one point, if you weren't, you have been a support NPC. Belwar Desigulp, yes, thank you. But yeah, great character. I wanted to like Regis. I did not. I liked Catterley of the Catterley Quintet, which is a whole different series, but runs through. But yeah, I have trouble finding characters in modern RPGs I identify with. I find characters I like, and at one point I did heavily identify first with Drizzt, then more with Artemis. But nice. I had a guy who was ex EOD. DOE? EOD. DOD. Anyhow, acronyms who threw foot long, I think they're called torpedoes, double-ended metal spikes that weigh about 1.5 pounds. Really, really wonderful. Catterley's a fascinating character, and as somebody who both likes combat yo-yos and canes as a defense, I have a deep love for Catterley. I love Drizzt, but he got a little emo for me. He got a little too down on his own stuff, and I have mixed vibes on him. But it's like they added too much emotion later to Artemis and Tiri. They were trying to redeem him, and some villains don't need to be redeemed. They can be functionally evil in that world, and it works. It makes them more interesting, in my opinion. But that's author opinion. That is why I was partial to Saber and Dagger for a very long time, though. Yeah, it's hard to find that character that resonates with you. I have characters that I identify with. I could list them if people are interested. That's folks like Giles of Buffy. Giles and I, well, it is not. There are always more DMs. Kinda. And there's a lot of retconning to be more socially acceptable. That's not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing. It's certainly not a cesspool I'm sitting a toe into right now. But Drizzt is a neat character, and he just was so neat he became heavily emulated later. There's my bottle cap. But the nice thing about me not finding a character to fully identify with means I'm on an individual path still. Yeah, I see that. It's like I am a support class. Guys happen. I am not an MC. So I identify with Giles, Artie from Warehouse 13. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure you have a great imagination, Kitty, and I'm sure you just by talking to you here, you'd have fun playing D&D. You really should RP something. Pick a rules light system, like basic or something else, and just play for fun. And avoid the people who tell you how to play. Although Ginny D could be fascinating for you if you're looking. Yeah, you know what, Cindy, I have had moments of big NPC energy where you're like, "Hi, can I help you?" Anyone who's worked retail has been an NPC in someone else's story. Uh, but for a long time, I was more I'd wander into somebody's life, help them with something, and leave, which sounds very main character, but not, not for me. But with the pandemic and mobility issues, I'm forced into an arc of, I don't know, self reevaluation. And it's interesting. It's fascinating from a philosophical level. And it's fascinating from a practical level. I have a phobia. My greatest fear is being useless. And when you're dealing with a degenerative situation, disabilities, things like that, that is a pressing fear. What new movie? The new Dungeons and Dragons? I'm sure it will be at least interesting. And if you guys haven't seen Vampire Hunter D, shame on you. Go watch the first one. The art is dated because it's older, and it is not for children. There is gore, there is mild nudity. But you don't have to be. This is why I tell people, dress like a PC. That's one thing. Part of the reason why I dress like I do, bright colors, I wear what I want. I don't fit in, which is totally against gray man philosophy, is because I'm not an NPC. I don't know what I am. I might be a quest giver. I might be something else, and that's, I've done certainly no small amount of that. I've even been I've been alleged to be the big bad evil guy in certain circles. Yes, Ogre. The oldest nickname I've ever had, the oldest title that was assigned to me, was assigned to me by my first DM. And to me as a person, despite whatever we were playing, she said, you can play whatever you want. You can play a thief, you can play, but you'll always be a forever acting paladin. And that's pretty much what I am. Oh yeah, quest guide. Been that. Like I said, whatever you want to call Artie, Giles. I aspire to the wisdom of Iroh, but yeah, Iroh, that sort of, not a main character, a support character, but not an NPC. And Ogre, if you are running as a paladin without an ethos crusade, it is your obligation to find one. Find what matters to you and do it. If it's helping people, then help people. If it's becoming a better martial artist, become a better martial artist. For some of us, it's getting up tomorrow morning. Sometimes that is the greatest adventure there is. It's just getting through another day. And one of the great tricks is to never lose your appreciation for beauty or your sense of wonder. Okay? Yeah, I saw that they made Ryan Reynolds a copy of Epic NPC Man. Yes, that is a brilliant comment. New guy, free guy, definitely. He's trying to be Greg the garlic farmer without the charm. Oh! No, I'm not beefing with you, Ryan Reynolds. You're a beautiful, brilliant, funny man. But I love me some Greg the garlic farmer. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Greg the garlic farmer, and apparently I made a reference to Balin the fisherman, and no one knew what I was talking about in the other game. Look up Viva La Dirt League on YouTube. Epic NPC Man. Epic NPC Man is brilliant. But I am at 2 hours and 34 minutes roughly. I've been chatting for quite a while. It is really warm in here, and I am down to the dregs of my caffeinated beverage. So, yes, they are. They are all getting better, Ogre. My bottle of Rules Lawyer Tears is empty. Aw, thank you, Thesis. No, not quite. But yeah, I saw myself more as a Brenton of as a Skyrim race. But yeah, I will tell you what. Homework. All y'all, everybody chatting here is on the Facebook public group. We have homework. Possible, and half the people kill me. One, next week, because it's my birthday and I can't have my Halloween party, y'all put up your best costume picks. I'll dig up some of my ancient ones. If you're really nice, I will put up an over 20-year-old picture of me and my wife from a demo. I put like me in garb when I was young and poofy. Thank you. I will admit that's awful close to the main plot line of Skyrim, so I usually don't get into that, but I do know who you mean. So that's part of it. The other thing is, since we're talking, give me your best race, class, archetype you think I am, because I'm always curious about that. I love seeing what that lets me know how people perceive me, D&D terms, RPG terms, whatever. I don't mind having to Google something to figure out what you're talking about. But hit me with that too in the Facebook group. A whole bunch of videos are coming, guys. Whole bunch of reviews are coming, and once the temperature breaks, we have to get through September. It gets really hot where I live, oddly enough. It's where is that sword? I have a wooden sword somewhere. It's dangerous to go alone. Yeah, here, you know what? Here we go. This is the closest I have in layout. Jack says, old wise man. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. But let me know what you think on the Facebook group. That way other people can see it, because it's always fascinating. Any associations, it'll just be amusing. And I will see you next week, which will be shortly after my birthday. And I'll talk about anything I've got, any fun we've had. And somewhere between now and then should be more videos. The deleted video will probably get thrown on Patreon because I love you guys. And other than that, be good to each other. If you like what I'm talking about, please buy my books. They're also all free to read through Kindle Unlimited. Flip through the pages. If you're going to buy the book, flip through the pages on Kindle Unlimited anyway. I get paid twice. But other than that, guys, I will be back Wednesday on Red Valkyrie Presents, running Triple D's, which is Dice Dudes and Dames. And I will be back here, same bat time, same bat channel, from 8 to 10, basically, as he looks at 11 o'clock, to educate and entertain. I could hit me up on the Facebook group or on Twitter at ntalkert if you have questions, comments, requests, whatever. And I'll try to be as helpful as I can. Guys, thank you so much for a lovely night. I couldn't do the show without you guys. Yeah, I've done it, and it's just not the same. So be good to each other. Be good. Keep your guard up, okay? Hydrate, folks. It's hot. And as always, thank you for supporting your local sword master.